Yeah, good morning to you. It's Daybreak at iFiber One. I'm Jeff Slakey. Got a great guest in studio talking winterization. Winter is just around the corner. Central Mason Fire and EMS Deputy Chief Mike Patti on the air. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
Good Friday to you here. And winterizing, huh?
Yes, sir.
It is about that time.
Yeah, I think it already started here with
We
the
got a
snow
little
we
bit
had
of
here
a
last week. Yeah.
skiff the other day, and of
Yep.
course, the first thing that I always think about when it snows is folks who turn the car on in the morning, let it warm up, and then
Yep.
go back inside for another cup of coffee or something, and they come back out, car's gone.
Well, that happens.
That
You know,
happens.
happens a lot.
Unfortunately, it does.
We've put our wildland stuff away. You know, last time I was in visiting with you, we
Yeah.
were, burning down the state.
Yeah.
We've put away our wildland stuff, and now we're finding fires inside the houses with, the furnaces firing off, and our baseboard heaters and our cadet heaters. People using their chimneys and fireplaces for the first time in the season. So, I guess what I'm here to ask the folks now is to start looking around the house and making sure that their houses are fire safe. Looking around and making sure that the kids' toys and their clothes, blankets and that are away from their baseboard heaters, away from the wall heaters. Making sure that they've had their wood stove chimneys checked before they have their first fire of the year.
Yeah.
A lot of folks have already had their first fires, and we've already had a few chimney fires.
Really?
Yeah, so we're already starting to see that.
Is that an annual thing you should do?
At least
or something?
At least before the first fire of the season.
Okay.
And then if you're, depending on the type of wood and if it's seasoned, if it's not seasoned wood, if it's pretty green, you may have to have it done once or twice throughout the burning season.
I was talking to Patrice, he was looking at picking up a cord of wood, and then my father and him were talking, and he was saying, well, there's those Presto logs that burn a lot longer, that compressed, compact, kind of sawdust, basically, a sawdust log.
Right.
What about those? Are those okay?
Well, they burn hot.
Yeah.
And that in itself causes some problems because it also has some glues and resins inside.
Okay.
So they burn fast and they burn hot. So you have to watch out that if you've got creosote in your chimney or in the smoke shelf, that it doesn't ignite those as well. So we prefer to see folks burn just cordwood that's been down for maybe a season or two. It's been dry, been stacked and allowed to dry with air in a woodshed or covered, like that, and then burn through the year. Once you stack up your wood stove, let it burn freely for about 15 to 20 minutes. Burns off that residual, the oils and the creosote in your wood stove and in a stack, and then you can go ahead and tamp it down, but don't tamp it down so much that it just, all you have is just the coals inside, because that's where your creosote builds up.
Mostly when you see, and you may or may not know this, but mostly when you see the cars or the trucks on the side of the road offering for sale those cords of wood, are those, have they been dried, or is that the fresh cut?
Boy, sometimes, it's hard to say. I've bought wood in the past where they've said it's been down for a year or two, and it just doesn't burn. You're going to have to look at the wood and
Test it yourself.
yeah, I'm not a good judge of wood, obviously. The wood I bought this year, I bought 3/4 of wood, and it's been down 2 years.
What can you tell me about, back to the baseboards and the cadet small heaters that we have in the rooms, and often it is in the child's room or things like that, how close something needs to be before it may have a flash point there, especially with clothing material, stuffed animal material, stuff like that?
Well, there again, it's depending on the type of material. If it's the lighter fabrics, the lighter the fabric, the farther away, obviously, we need to keep it from the heat source. Regular wood, can be a little bit closer, but generally we like to see 24 to 36 inches away from the from the heat source.
Okay.
That's the kind of the general way of thinking.
The other big thing that we talk about often is folks using their propane heaters or propane barbecues, things like that, either in the garage or in an enclosed space, and that can be very deadly.
It still puts out carbon monoxide inside, just like your car. When you start your car in the garage and go in and have your cup of coffee, it's filling your garage with carbon monoxide. And a requirement of new homes being built now requires a carbon monoxide detector. And if you don't have one, if you've got an attached garage or you have a propane wood stove or a propane heater, that's a good thing to have in your home, is because it'll detect those fumes that you and I can't detect because it's odorless. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it. It just will come in, and with enough of those fumes, you may start getting headaches, all the way down to killing you while you're sleeping.
Let's move to the outside now. What would you suggest people have?
I'm sorry.
Do you have to go somewhere?
Nope. We're just.
All right. Well, see,
department's
live
getting-
radio. This is what happens. You know how it is. Busy man here, Mike Patti, Central Mason Fire and EMS.
Yeah, we're on
Deputy Chief.
we're on the way to having almost 6,000 calls this year. So
6,000
yeah,
calls
for Central Mason for the
Wow.
entire department. So
That's right. I think I did talk with Chief McKern about that a couple weeks ago. He said it was right on pace. No,
so I apologize for that.
no worries. I mean, this
So-
is what happens.
Yep.
So let's move outside
Okay.
now and talk to us about some things that you would suggest folks have with them in their cars, or if they're going to be out in the woods traversing and recreating, even a little bit. What should people have with them?
Well, they should be having like some kind of blankets, something to keep warm. This day and age, cell phones.
Yeah.
Everybody has a cell phone anymore. It's not like it used to be, where if you were out and your car was stranded, you had to wait till somebody comes along. But making sure you have a cell phone with plenty of battery power. Granola bars, something that will keep you at least from getting too hungry. So granola bars and some water to keep you hydrated and keep you at least fed until you can get somebody to come along and help you. But that's the biggest thing, is just being able to stay warm. If you run your car, make sure you keep your windows down, because there again, carbon monoxide is an evil chemical that will kill you without you knowing it.
If you are stuck and stranded and perhaps don't have cell phone or no cell service, do you run the car for a half an hour and then you lay it off for a while so you can kind of warm up, but keep gas in the tank? Or
That's the big thing about keeping gas in the tank. We do it day by day. We don't allow our fire vehicles to go below 3/4 of a tank.
Oh wow, yeah.
And even our chief's vehicles, we keep it up to 3/4 of a tank. Never let it get below that, because you don't know what you're going to be running into within the next 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I've had my family, I've always told them, this type of weather, don't let your fuel tanks get below 3/4, because if we have a power outage and the fuel tanks, the gas stations can't open, that's what you've got to live with until you can get to gas. So the name of the game is just being prepared this time of year, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it's sunny one day, snowing the next.
And they're talking like this weekend, we're going to be okay through the weekend, but I guess next week is going to be another powerhouse of a storm.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Nice talking with you this morning. Always good information to pass along to the community. Mike Patti, Central Mason Fire and EMS, Chief Deputy there. One last thing before I go. I'm about to play this preview that Sean Wells put forth, but the old Tumwater T-Birds heading up to take on Linden in the state playoffs.
Gotta love it.
Do you see that statue for Sid Otten they've put up already?
Isn't that great?
Beautiful.
It is. Our alma mater, Jeff.
That's right.
Yep.
A little Tumwater winning football. That's
Yes.
a little behind the scenes. Mike and I, both Tumwater grads.